2023 meeting of the Planning Commission. I'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Kristen, can you do the roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Bartis?
Here.
Commissioner Dolan noted that she would be absent this evening. Chair Kempner?
Here.
Commissioner Stapp?
Here.
Commissioner Hamame?
Here.
Commissioner Frank also noted that he would be absent this evening. And Commissioner Woods?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Yay. All right, so can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Chair Kempner? We have to do the motions.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. I just asked you about that too. Would someone like to make an emotion to excuse Commissioners Dolan and Frank?
Motion to excuse commissioners.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now approval of agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda's been approved. And approval of the minutes of May 23rd, 2023. Are there any changes or motions?
Motion to approve meeting minutes from May 23rd.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Communications. Do we have any communications?
The only thing this evening is the Michigan planner that was provided.
Thank you. And citizen comments. Do we have anyone coming up wanting to comment on items not on the agenda? All right, moving on. Public hearing PSU 0123 and PSP 0423 for 2790 Coolidge. Kristen, can you fill us in?
Yes, I will just give you a few introductory remarks. So the applicant plans to occupy this space as a law office, and along with that, they're making some interior and exterior renovations. First floor offices are special land uses in the downtown district, and the Planning Commission is asked this evening to hold the public hearing and make a recommendation to the council. The standards in section 138.653 of the zoning ordinance should be noted, and those are also listed in the staff report for your reference. The facade upgrades that are proposed bring the building more in line with both the ordinance and our downtown design guidelines. The ordinance does require a minimum of 40% windows on the front facade. 30% is proposed. That is an enlargement over what is currently there, so it is bringing it closer. And staff does recommend that the commission grant a waiver of that requirement as permitted by the zoning ordinance. So tonight you're being asked to make a recommendation on the special land use along with hold the public hearing, and also to approve the site plan with that waiver for the front window requirement.
Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of clarity, is this a legal non-conforming structure now?
It's been vacant for some time. The structure could be used for other things besides an office. You are correct that previous to this there was like a therapy office there. So there was an office use previously, but it has been vacant for more than 6 months.
I guess I'm just wondering if it's a legal
You're talking about the facade?
Yeah, structure. So if it's a legal non-conforming structure, then as long as he's moving towards conformance, I think that makes sense. I wasn't clear whether the structure was currently legal non-conforming for it to be in violation of the zoning ordinance right now.
Yes, it would be legal non-conforming now. The applicant is pretty much doing the whole front facade minus the roof line. So we would look for them to bring it into conformance if possible. They are bringing it much closer.
You said you said the amount of window space is increased to 30%.
Correct.
And what's that up from, would you say?
The architect might be able to answer that question better than I can.
Good evening, Bradley DeVries, Slow Tide Studio Architects. I don't know that number off my top of my head, but it's like 10%.
Can you hold on one second? Do we not have a microphone up there?
We do. Do you want me to use this?
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
please.
just because otherwise it won't catch it at home either.
It won't what?
It won't, the,
You could put it in the holder if that's more comfortable for you.
Sure.
I think they set it there and then just didn't.
That's the existing facade.
Is it on? Okay. Do you want me to start over?
please.
Okay. Yep. Bradley DeVries, Slow Tide Studio Architects, and I don't have the exact percentage of what it is, but it's about 10%. Those windows are 16 inches by about 60, and we're proposing to go to, I believe, like 5 by 6 foot windows. One of the challenges of why we're proposing 30% over over the 40% that's stipulated in the ordinance is, as you can see, we have kind of a low roof line, and then it actually has pretty thick interior walls. So if we were to meet that 40% percentage and also maintain the 3-foot sill height, it basically the entire front facade is a window. There's no wall space left over, and there's significant structural modifications. So kind of the size and scale of the existing property kind of prohibits us from getting all the way to that 40%. So the 30% is, like Kristen mentioned, a big increase from where we're at currently.
So that 40% stipulation, is that for every single building, or is that limited? Is there a square footage or footage of available frontage, like the architect mentioned? Is that based on, I'm trying to phrase this correctly, so that's prescriptive for every building, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So there's no square footage requirements or frontage, length of frontage, size of frontage requirements?
No.
All right.
Anybody else have any questions for staff first?
Oh,
Is there any, oh, yes.
one question. I think in the memo too, it mentioned the front entrance is usually supposed to be facing the main street, but it's being retained on the side, right? And
Right.
and that's not something we have to specially allow, right? Because it's already
Right,
there?
so in
Okay.
this case, the window sizes are changing, which is why I noted this as a waiver. The entrance is staying where it was.
We don't have to waiver that then, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, is there anything else that you would like to tell us about your project before we talk amongst ourselves?
Sure. As you can see, this is a pretty unsightly building. So we're proposing to replace the asphalt shingles with new asphalt shingles and then remove all of the kind of worn and weathered wood siding and stucco and replace it with a brick veneer, as well as not only enlarging these windows, but the windows on the north facade. We would replace those windows, keep the existing openings, and then add some windows to the rear as well. So I think a significant upgrade to the aesthetic and, much more in line with the downtown district.
And if I may just introduce myself briefly, my name is Rachel Pinch, and I am the one who purchased this building, and I'm hoping to occupy it. So to briefly introduce myself, I'm an attorney. I specialize in Social Security disability law, which means I represent individuals who cannot work because of mental and or physical limitations, go through the process of applying for and receiving disability benefits. So I currently lease office space in Troy, and that lease expires next April. And so when this building came up for sale, I live in Huntington Woods and was very much looking forward to moving closer to home. And I just couldn't beat the location. The building needs some work, but I'm really looking forward to being part of the Berkley business community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, does anybody have any questions for the applicant at all? Or discussion?
Chair Kempner? The
Yes.
public hearing.
Oh, yes. Okay, so the public hearing is just for the special land use part of it, right?
Right.
All right, so at 7:10, I will open the public hearing. Anybody would like to come from the public and speak on this issue? There's no one here. All right, so I am also closing it at 7:10.
And we did not receive any correspondence either.
Thank you. And now we'll move towards discussion. Anyone?
I am just trying to find the zoning ordinance provision that authorizes us to waiver. You
Did you search
emailed
up
it to me.
windows?
To waiver the windows?
Yep, look up windows.
Just do a search.
Yeah. I think it was like the first or second thing I caught.
138,421.
I have no issues with it. I mean, I looked it over and the windows look great. The entrance is on the side. New roof line, or new roof, the brick. I think it's all within the characteristics of that area. I forget if there was lighting. I'd have to look it up again, but I don't have my laptop died.
Kristen, what I'm looking for is the section you emailed me that's the correct section so we can make a proper motion.
It's 138,679.
And our window ordinance does not address the windows on the side
Franklin.
street on a corner, right? We're picking the front only.
Correct.
So are we taking these in two parts then, the site plan and the special land use? Okay, I will make a motion to, does it matter which one I do first? I will make a motion to approve the site plan for PSP-04-23, including a waiver of the window, of the 40% window requirement, because 30% is sufficient. The Planning Commission has that authority pursuant to section 138,679.
I support.
I should say 138,421 and 138,679, sorry.
I support.
Mr. Would you like to call the roll?
Sure. Commissioner Bartis?
Yes.
Commissioner Stapp?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamame?
Yes.
Commissioner Woods?
Yes.
Chair Kempner?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And then does somebody want to make a motion for the special land use part?
Yeah.
I can make the motion to approve
Alright.
the special land use for 2790 Coolidge, PSU -01-23, because the proposed use will promote the use of land in a socially and economically desirable manner. The proposed use is necessary for the public convenience at that location. The proposed use is compatible with adjacent land uses. The proposed use is designed so that the public health, safety, and welfare shall be protected. The proposed use will not cause injury to other property in the neighborhood. And all of these, I feel, are met because it is essentially a continuation of a previous similar use, an office-type use, and the structure is already there.
Support.
Mr. Chairman, call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Stapp?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamame?
Yes.
Commissioner Woods?
Yes.
Commissioner Bartis?
Yes.
And Chair Kempner?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Number 2, PSP 0623-27901 Woodward.
Thank you.
Congratulations, guys.
So in this case, the applicant is planning an addition to accommodate an elevator at an existing medical office building. The proposed facade surrounding the elevator addition would match the existing building. Site plan approval is required, and staff recommends approval.
Is there anything, are you the petitioner for that? Is there anything you would like to add?
Yes, just that the purpose for this is, this is the North Point Medical Office building that has been there since about 1989, 1990. Very active medical office building. On the third floor in particular drives a lot of patient traffic. It's a roughly 14,000 square foot cardiology office, and they receive about 200 to 250 patients per day. And the current owners of the building bought it about a year and a half ago. Almost immediately we began experiencing elevator problems, and the problems range from the doors failing to operate, rails screeching. It's an old elevator that's gotten a tremendous amount of use, and unfortunately we can't take it out of service long enough to do the major rehabilitation that it would take to put this into top quality shape. And we've had experiences with outages on the elevator in the course of the day that disrupt patient flow with a very mobility challenged population. So it really boils down to a matter of patient safety driving our decision to add a second elevator. And just to emphasize the challenges of maintaining this elevator, we've got a service contract on it, but we've spent $25,000 in overtime charges over the past year doing work on the existing elevator, and the real concern is that we could experience a catastrophic loss. We've had the elevator out of service during the day for an hour or two here and there, but if this elevator went down, it would be just catastrophic for the practice in the building, worse yet for the patients in the building. And so it's a huge cost, not just the elevator, but the hoistway, et cetera. But we think it's in the best interests of the building, the patients, the staff to have a new second elevator, which will provide us with redundancy. A building of this size typically would have a single elevator, but with the vulnerability of this patient population, a second elevator at this point is just essential. So that's what's driving our decision to move forward with this.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for? Yeah. Any discussions? This one seems really pretty easy.
Just curious, with the addition of that elevator, is it going to take out both those trees there?
No. It's going to, there are a couple of, it's not happening on that elevation or portion of the building.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There is an indentation in the building right there. That is where the elevator is going to go.
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
before.
I run by there Friday.
So, and prior to our acquisition of the building, the original architect in this building was Newman Smith, very capable architectural firm. And they studied various locations in this building, where to put it. This was the only place that made any sense. Hence our proposal to look at it. The other, I will also add that adding a second elevator, the current elevator is not a stretcher compatible elevator, which is, you look back in history, why didn't you put in a stretcher size elevator? This is allowing us to put in a stretcher compatible elevator into the building, which will, every now and then someone needs to be taken out of the building in a stretcher, with the population in particular going to the third floor cardiology offices. So this is, one more element to the patient safety that is complemented by adding an elevator.
Yeah, everything was going to match from what I read. Brick, window color, everything.
Yep. We were, I believe the company is Bricktech, and I believe they're in Berkley. I'm fairly certain of that. But they're local. They're just over on 11 Mile. That was the original supplier, and we're able to brick match the existing brick and mortar.
I am happy to make a motion to PSP 06-23, the site plan for 27901 Woodward, because the site materials and architecture as presented meet the standards for site plan approval per section 138-679 of the code.
Support.
Call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Hamame?
Yes?
Commissioner Woods?
Yes.
Commissioner Bardas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stapp?
Yes.
Chair Kempner?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Planning Commission bylaws and rules of procedure.
So this is just one small change to the proposed bylaws, and that was to address resignation procedures. We ran into a little bit of an issue on the ZBA, and noticed that the Planning Commission bylaws did not include anything to address that either. So it's just a sentence or two, and you're asked to approve those this evening. They do come up regularly for review in January, so this is kind of like an extra thing that we're putting in at this time.
I'm surprised it wasn't in there before. Like, it just said, like, write a letter, right, or email?
Yes.
Okay.
Did we review this in January?
Yes, and there were a couple different changes made. This was not included, though.
Oh, I was not here in January. I was on my big vacation. Like, I don't remember reviewing these. I presume that, I'm sorry.
No.
I presume that John Starren has prepared these amendments and has reviewed this.
Yep, good to go.
What is the fiscal year? October 1?
It's July 1 to June 30th.
All right. I could do motion to approve Planning Commission bylaws and rules of procedures with,
Support.
do I have to state I forget which number it was, but it has to do with resigning.
I can add the number in it.
It's one
in a minute.
sentence.
It's Section 2 membership 2C.
I have a feeling she cleans up our motions.
Yes.
And we
Yours
have
were
a
pretty
second,
good
right?
tonight, though.
Support.
All right. Call the roll?
Commissioner Woods,
Yes.
Commissioner Bardas,
Yes.
Commissioner Stapp,
Yes.
Commissioner Hamame,
Yes.
and Chair Kempner.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, and election of officers and committee liaisons. You wanna start us off? What committees do we have?
So we have the Chamber, who is desperately seeking someone from the Planning Commission. We have the Environmental Committee, which I believe Commissioner Dolan was attending. Bless you.
Thank you.
And we have the DDA.
Are these all up because it's July 1st?
Correct.
Okay.
Is this something that we should consider tabling since we don't have everybody? Or postponing, I should say?
That's up to you.
We could. Do you know when the chamber meets?
The Chamber meets on Tuesday evenings.
I've been doing DDA because I have the availability because they meet at 8:15 on Wednesday mornings, which is the time when most people are like going to work.
They do 8:15 Wednesday mornings?
Yeah, well, once a month
Yeah.
on a Wednesday
Okay,
morning.
I could probably do that. Is that for what, about an hour?
It's usually closer to 2.
Yeah. And then, what's the, so it's scheduled every month, monthly meetings?
These are all monthly meetings, yeah.
And should we have a liaison to the ZBA?
We can if you want. You could have the option of doing that. We haven't for several years now.
Right. I mean, we can push those off to next meeting, though we always seem to have somebody missing.
That's fine. Right now we don't have anything for August.
Okay.
the election per the bylaws, the election of the chair, vice chair, and secretary do have to occur by September. So if we were not to have anything in August, we would most definitely be meeting in September, even if it is just for that.
Do we want to do elections today?
I don't have a problem doing it, I guess, because Commissioner Dolly always did
Environmental.
environmental. We can't just assume she wants to continue, can we?
So can we do, let's do elections of officers today, and then everybody can sit and marinate on committee liaisons, and then we can reach, if somebody's not coming, we know to like reach out to them and say, are you planning on doing that or not? Does that seem reasonable?
I mean, yeah, if we would have known ahead of time that she still is interested, I think that would have helped, but to
Right.
just give it to her because,
And I think that one's an important one to have somebody reporting back on.
and she seems like the most appropriate person to do it, considering what she does for a living. Can I ask, let's talk about what they are. So, DDA, you're gonna stew on it, or do you think you're gonna take that?
I was thinking chamber, that's the morning.
That's the evening.
Oh, that's the one in the
Chamber is Tuesday evening.
Okay.
GDA is Wednesday morning.
Okay,
DDA
so
is in the
DDA,
morning.
yeah.
Both
Chamber-
dealing with commercial properties. Chamber is all throughout Berkeley.
Right, but Chamber, you said, is Tuesday evenings. I mean, they're not every Tuesday. What Tuesday
No,
a
it's
month?
these are once a month. I believe it's the second Tuesday. But I can confirm that for the next time.
Okay. Yeah, because I think we're gonna need to know when they meet so we can,
Have an idea if you can do it.
yeah, I have a lot of night meetings. Obviously, I'm a municipal attorney, so I do this a lot. So I may have conflicts, and actually Wednesdays, I prosecute out in Woodhaven for Grosse Ile every other Wednesday. And so it's not even a consistent Wednesday, because if there's 5 Wednesdays, it changes. So I wouldn't be able to commit to a Wednesday for sure.
And the environmental committee meets the third Tuesday. And that's an evening meeting. And then,
For a while, we had council too.
so traditionally, the chair has been the council liaison.
I mean, and that's fine, I can do that. Or I can do DDA, or I can, whatever. If you can do DDA, that's great, because once school starts, 8:15 is gonna suck to like run my daughter to school and then right there.
Yeah.
I like to come home and have a lot more coffee than that.
Kids zone and daycare really and work from home Wednesday.
And then the ZBA meets the second Monday, usually. And that's evening too.
But not all the time. It's
Correct.
really iffy with them, so if you're looking for a light gig, that might be it.
How many times did they meet last year, this past fiscal
They
year?
met quite a bit last year. I would say it was an unusually large amount of meetings, and it was probably like 8. Usually it's more like 6. And they're usually pretty quick.
Yeah.
All right, so we all have stuff to think about. For liaisons, elections of officers. I'm fine staying as chair. Does somebody rather have this job?
I will nominate you as chair. Should we be doing it in the opposite order?
It doesn't matter.
Support.
Do we have to roll call this, or is this all in favor?
You can do all in favor if you prefer.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I am chair again. Vice chair. Are you still
I'm
cool with
currently
it?
vice chair, right?
Oh, are you
For
the-
1 month.
Great. Are you cool staying
That's
vice chair?
fine, yeah,
Does
yeah,
anybody
yeah,
want
I'll
to
make a
definitely.
motion.
Russell?
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, you're our vice chair still, and then we need a secretary, right?
Yes.
Who was our secretary before? Was it Commissioner Dolan?
Yes, I think it was.
I think it was. It wasn't me. It wasn't, it had to have been, it wasn't you, right?
Or was it Matt?
No, I think it was
No.
Commissioner Dolan.
I think it was
It was-
Commissioner
yes.
Dolan. I feel like we should just, like,
Yeah. Fallon told her for
right?
everything.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of a,
Those are just interim anyways, right?
right? And if she really doesn't want it, then we'll revote, but she's not taking minutes or anything.
Can we nominate somebody who can't accept the nomination?
You could then we'd have to meet in September just to nominate a secretary if need be.
Does somebody else want to be the secretary? It really, our secretary does what? It's just a nameplate, because we have to have one, right?
Correct.
You'd
In
be
the-
third in line to run a meeting.
Right, third in
basically.
line to run a meeting in the event both of you are absent and we still have a quorum.
Yeah, that's
So-
happening.
What's a quorum? 3?
4.
Four.
4. All right.
I can't
Well,
do it
I'll-
on my first meeting, so it's gotta be one of you.
You wanna flip a coin?
I can do it if, but I would hate to take the responsibility away from Commissioner Darlene if she's still.
I mean, I
like
think
the
I've missed like 2
secretary.
meetings in 7 years, so it's a pretty safe gig.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I just wouldn't want to overstep.
Oh.
But if she wanted it, you could revote, correct?
Yes, you could resign as secretary.
You could resign and then they could reappoint. If she was.
I
Throw some fireworks into
They'll
these
never be able
meetings.
to take it away from you.
I don't know. Once you give me this power, I don't know.
I think she'll be okay with it,
Yeah, I
right?
do, yeah.
I mean, is it absolutely necessary we decide this today? Can we
I
table
mean, it's
this?
probably not. I just like to get the
would
officers.
just get it
like-
done.
It is not absolutely necessary, but we would have to meet per your bylaws in September if we had nothing to do the secretary nomination.
Are we meeting in September anyway for the commissioner liaison, or no? That's not a requirement?
That's not a requirement to have that done by a certain date.
Okay.
I mean, if we have an item to talk about, we'll meet.
And I think if there's one that you like, that calls to you, right, and you want to start going to their meetings beforehand, right, like, do that. Report to us, and then we'll figure it all out when we meet again.
So we do have, if we do not decide today on officers, we would have to have a meeting in September to do that?
Correct.
So how come we wouldn't have to have one in August?
Because September, it has to be chosen by September.
Okay,
And right now, we don't have any items for August. That's not to say something couldn't come in.
right.
I'm gonna make a motion to nominate Commissioner Woods as secretary.
Support.
All in favor?
Deny. No.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you to our new secretary.
Congratulations to
She
both,
may have
to all three
forgotten
of
she
you.
was secretary, honestly, because we all did.
We may have.
Liaison reports. Anybody here a liaison to anything?
Well, environmental's not here.
Right. What do I have for DDA? Let's see, Bombshell Treat Bar, which was Sugar Kisses at Dorothea and Coolidge. They got they just submitted their facade, which looks beautiful, but they're starting to move on their building and getting a facade grant. The sketch PUD that we saw 2 months ago came and presented to the DDA. He had mentioned that he'd been meeting with some of the neighbors around there. And then as far as the Coolidge Complete Streets goes, it's been slow because they've been trying to get bids to do some of like bump out work and that kind of thing. The bids came in much, much higher than they were expecting or than they had budgeted for. So now they're gonna talk to DPW and look to see if there's some like a la carte options that they can do immediately to try and make it safer and activate those crosswalks. That's all I have for DDA. Kristen, do you have something for us? I'm sure you do.
I have a couple things. So the zoning ordinance steering committee has met twice since we've last met. There are memos in the packet that are detailing their activities. If you have comments, please let us know, questions, anything. We'd love to pass that on to the steering committee. Along with that, I sent out a doodle poll earlier today We're looking at a joint meeting in late November / early December. So if you can please complete that if you haven't had a chance to do that. And that would be to go over what the steering committee's done thus far with council and with the planning commission. And then just today, we are going to be looking at public engagement sessions. We're targeting now for January, potentially up to 4. It will be like a month of zoning. So stay tuned for more information on those specific dates and the specific topics. And the last thing I wanted to mention, the Benjamin sketch plan that was before you in May has officially submitted for review by staff. We've gotten a few calls from the public about it. That's why I wanted to mention it this evening. So they've submitted just a few days ago. It's under review. It would not come to you. It would not be noticed to the public until staff is satisfied that the plans are complete, that they have all the information they need to review them. So I just wanted to let the commission know, should you get any questions, and if there's anyone watching at home, that those plans have been submitted, but they're available to look at if you'd like, but we have no staff comment yet, and they will not come for a public hearing until staff is satisfied that they have met the ordinance requirements.
And the Benjamin is that sketch PUD that we saw a couple months ago.
Correct. So this is on Coolidge at Columbia and Cambridge. And I don't believe it's called the Benjamin anymore. I think they have a new name now, but yes.
Cool. Do you have anything for us?
Yeah, council met on the 17th. Just a few things they went over. They entered an agreement with this to have a school resource officer. They had a first reading to prohibit retail pet stores from selling dogs and cats. And they postponed a vote on an EV charging station at the Oxford Park. So that'll come before us again August 14th at 7 p.m. at our next council meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional commissioner comments? Well, somebody's got to be my motion to adjourn. See, Mr.
I can't do it, sorry.
Councilmember Patterson was right on the ball. All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at
Be your
7:37.
seat, sorry. She'll look to you next time. It's that seat, you have to motion to adjourn if nothing else.